What's good, my people? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? How y'all doing? I'm Big Tone, on half of the TCOGs Podcast. Thank you for listening. Shout out to my brother Smitty. We will be filming an episode today. He and I'm sure he's gonna rag me about the picks I made this weekend. Stay tuned for that. If you have not, please hit the subscribe and like buttons. We really enjoy this. I'm actually having a blast. Haven't had the success I would like, but it's still fun, and it keeps me and my brother connected. So today's topic is going to be brief, but this episode is called A Day of Love and Truth. So recently, Donald Trump called January 6th a day of love. So that upsets me for a couple of reasons. Number one, I know people who were or are law enforcement officers, first responders. So to call it a day of love when they had to deal with what they had to deal with, I didn't see too much love there. Another reason is because that's my hometown. I grew up in the DMV, Northeast, Gibbs Elementary School, 1523 Isherwood Street, Northeast, Washington, D.C., 20002. So I have a special affinity when something happens in my hometown, especially when it's negative. And the third reason is January 6th was the day that we all witnessed someone try to overthrow the government. That's what they tried to do. Overthrow the will of the government and the will of the people. On January 6th, the votes would be certified. Donald Trump, who was president at the time, sent a mob of people to the Capitol to interrupt that process. It's no different than that. That's the certifying of the votes. So what that means is those people were there, did not want your vote to count if your vote wasn't for Trump. And it's funny how they always talk about the election was rigged and the election was stolen. Think about this. If that election was rigged and if that election was stolen, how did the Republicans get control of the House of Representatives? Because at the time, the Democrats had control of the House of Representatives. You may be trying to figure out why I asked that question, so let me tell you. If the election was rigged, it wasn't just rigged against Trump. Why was it rigged against Trump? But everybody else name on the ticket, everything else was good. The only other person that tried to mirror that was Curry Lake out in Arizona that I heard of. Now, I could be wrong. She still got people in the court. Now, there was 62 out of 63 court cases thrown out. Like, this is ridiculous. But again, how was the election stolen just against Trump? If the Democrats stole the election, they wouldn't have let the House of Representatives be taken over by the GOP. So a day of love. That's what that was about. That's what it was all about. So a day of love. Give you a couple things that happened on the day of love. First of all, I want to know if anyone knows this. What is this? An organized violent act of revolt against and establish governmental authority. That's called an insurrection. That means of the 2,500 people that stormed the Capitol because Donald Trump said so on a day of love, were insurrectionists. So, as a result of a day of love and truth, upwards of about 750 convictions, of which 470 of those people actually served time. There was an attempt on the life of Mike Pence. They was coming to get his ass. Y'all saw the guillotine and stuff out there. Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence. When Donald Trump was asked about that on a day of love, he said, so what? So he was cool with something happening to his vice president on a day of love. There was 6 deaths on a day of love. 175 police officers were injured on a day of love. Almost 4 years later, and we still hearing the lies and misinformation and just out and out deceitfulness coming from Donald Trump regarding January 6th and the 2020 election. I don't understand. Now, he was impeached for that. And I could be wrong. I think that's what he wasn't impeached for. But anyway, my point is, this is when it's time for the Republican leadership to step up. See, right now, we can go back and forth about policy and all that other stuff, right? But it's beyond that. This guy, on a day of love, was cool with our normal transfer of power being interrupted, all because he couldn't take a L like a man. He'll lie. He'll tell any lie. He'll throw anybody under the bus. And the people who had amazing careers. Rudy Giuliani was the world's greatest mayor after 9/11. Because he went along with January 6th and a day of love. Look at him right now. Whole bunch of attorneys. And what I don't understand is people like Mitch McConnell. I ain't gonna say Mike Johnson and Jim Jordan. They trash. But Mitch McConnell, some of the other respectable Republicans, I thought it was about putting the country first. Anybody that lies and tells the lies that he's told about the day of love should not have the keys to the White House, should not have the nuclear codes. A day of love. I've had plenty of days of love. I ain't never seen or heard of a day of love when 175 police officers are injured. People are killed, shot and killed. There was the reason why, you know what? It was a day of love. Because He's right. It was a day of love. Jerry Martinez. It was a day of love. You know why? Because they all were showing their love for him. Not for country, not for the Constitution, for him. So you're absolutely right. He's absolutely right. I apologize. The truth is, it was a day of love. But it was because those 2,500 people, 750 of them, 750 convictions, and they still investigating it, were all showing their love for their cult leader because he couldn't take an L like a man. There's one thing about the presidential candidate protesting the election, going through the normal filing whatever you have to file in court or whatever. Okay, cool. That happens. But dude, you started a riot. You started an insurrection. You did that. So, and there's people that want to just poo-poo that. That can't be poo-poo. Because if he wins, God, please no. If he wins, he already said he wanted to be a dictator on day one. So when he wins and his 4 years is up and it's time for him to leave, how you gonna know if he gonna want to leave? He may try to stay. If he has 75% of his wits, which he probably doesn't even have right now, he'll probably try to stay. It's against what we're about. It's against what we're about as a nation, as a country. That wasn't no damn day of love. That was a day you've spewed so much hate that was a day of hate. It was a day of hate for constitutional norms. It was hate for our institutions. It was hate for our Constitution. It was hate for our government. It was hate for the country. And love for one man. Don't give me this, y'all. You love the country, that's why you did it. No, you love Trump, that's why you did it. Because if Trump would have told y'all not to do it, you wouldn't have did it. This ain't had nothing to do with the country. He has brainwashed people so bad to get people to believe that January 6th was a day of love. I tell you what, I would have loved for y'all to come down Benning Road with that bullshit. I'd love for y'all to come down Trinidad with that bullshit. Come down Southeast with that bullshit. It wasn't a day of love for the country. It was a day of love for Trump and a day of love for all the hate he spews and the racist rhetoric he spews and the disrespect towards women he spews and how if you don't vote for him, you should have your head examined, he spews, and all of the crazy stuff he says, all of that he spews is a love for that. Wasn't a love for the country, not the country I love. Because the country I love don't want love like that. Stop with the bullshit. Just stop with the bullshit. I'm that boy they call Big Tone. Thank you for listening to this episode of the TCOGs Podcast. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'm out.